Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to start Module 6, and the first topic in Module 6 is applications of GA in machine learning. So, the first application of GA, you can see it as feature selection. So, what do you mean by feature selection? So you have seen that in machine learning you have classification problems as well as prediction or regression problems. So in any problem in machine learning there is a set of input variables and these are actually called features. For example, if you take the case of face recognition, so the main goal is to find important face features so that you can train the neural network. So sometimes some of the important pixels in the image of face, like pixel corresponding to mouth, eyes, noses, the distance between eyes, there will be some indicators that are very important to recognize a face. So the problem is that when the number of features taken as input increases, the complexity of the neural network model also increases. More number of neurons will be required, more computations need to be performed, so more time to train the network will also be required. So, for example, assume that we have 100 features and it is very difficult to give all these features as input and train the neural network. So what usually happens in machine learning is that always the best number of features will be selected for training the network. For example, if the 100 features are there, sometimes we may choose a subset of 10 features from that, the best 10 features which will represent your face or something like that. So with that you train the network. So how can you choose 10 features from 100 features? So it is actually a combinatorial problem. You may have to use combinations or permutations to find out that. So with 100 features, the number of ways in which you can select 10 features is more than 1 trillion. But we need actually one combination of 10 features that gives the best performing neural network model. So in such cases, optimization methods like GA can be used in order to find or select the 10 best features from 100 features. So it doesn't test for every combination. Every 10 feature combination GA doesn't check. It is a fast or shortcut method. So such shortcut methods are very important in such situations which would otherwise take too long time to be solved. Okay, so this is one important application of genetic algorithm, to choose the best features or set of features given a very big set of features. Next application of GA is in ship routing and scheduling. So the main problem here is finding the best method to minimize the cost of shipping quantities using a fleet of ships to a number of destinations in specified time. So what is the meaning of that? So the set of inputs will be actually the number of ships, number and order of the destination cities where the materials required to be provided, and the time taken for shipment. So given these set of inputs, how we can select the best combination so that the total cost of shipping is a minimum. So this is again an optimization problem which can be easily solved using GA. Now, next application of GA is finding the optimal transit routes. For example, between two cities, if you have many routes, which is the best route? Which maximum number of passengers can travel in minimum time? That also can be solved. It is again an optimization problem which can be solved using genetic algorithm. Now, GA also finds application in robotics. Actually, in robotics, it is mainly used for solving path planning or finding the optimal path. Okay. It is used for path optimization, that is finding a valid and feasible path for the robot between two positions by avoiding obstacles and optimizing some criteria like distance. So here the fitness criteria will be shortest distance. Okay. Now sometimes the fitness can be safety. The path must be free of obstacles as far as possible, something like that. So the main role of GA in robotics is path planning. Okay. Now GA also finds applications in design optimization. For example, engineering designs, automobile design. So you know that for design of a new automobile, so many factors need to be taken into consideration, like where to optimally place the fuel tank, where to optimally place so and so things in a car or something like that. So there may be various inputs to the design and various ways in which each component can be placed in a car. So it is again a very big problem of space, and finding the best combination of placing the components in a car can be again taken as an optimization problem which can be solved using GA. Now, training neural networks. That is one another important application of GA. GAs can be used to train neural networks. And why is it used to train neural networks? It is to determine the optimal number of hidden layers, the number of neurons in each layer, and the good value of weights. So what usually does is that the information regarding the neural network, that is information regarding the number of hidden layers, the number of neurons in each layer, weights, etc. will be encoded in the chromosome of the genetic algorithm. So each solution or each individual in GA will be actually a representation of the neural network. So at the beginning, a number of neural network individuals will be generated. Now each neural network will be given with a set of data, trained with backpropagation, and then some fitness value of the network will be calculated, like how much is the accuracy of the built neural network and so on. That can be taken as a fitness value. So similarly, all the other neural networks generated can be evaluated, and finally after a number of generations, GA can come up with the best neural network that has the best accuracy. Now another application of GA is tuning of fuzzy systems. So actually here the main role of GA is finding the optimal input-output variable combination. Okay, it is mainly used to optimize the control rules. So for any logic system, the success of a logic system depends upon the fuzzy rules, number of variables, linguistic variables, the type and range of membership functions. So if there are excessive number of rules and variables, it may take longer time to make decisions and also increases the computational resources. So using GA is always good to optimize the number of rules as well as the number of input-output variables. So that's all about the applications of genetic algorithms. Now I would like to go to the second topic, which is called machine learning approach to knowledge acquisition. So what is machine learning approach to knowledge acquisition? So you know that, I hope you know what is an expert system. It means that in traditional or conventional times, in olden times, what they do is a knowledge engineer captures the knowledge or information regarding some system or some process from experts. The knowledge engineer will get the information from experts and build a knowledge base. That is what used to happen in the olden days. But the problem with that is that always the expert opinion need not be true. And the thing is that the knowledge engineer always need to keep the knowledge updated and always need to keep in touch with the experts. So that was an issue that happened in the previous times. But instead of that, Another mechanism is shown wherein machine learning is used to acquire knowledge. So the figure is shown here for machine learning approach for knowledge acquiring. So here you can see that there is a database. So the database is actually made from expert opinion. Look here. The database is actually made from expert opinion and also from some reasoning systems, some other system. Okay. So in that way, a database is made. Now, what the machine learning system does? It can be any machine learning system that can learn the machine. What it does is that it makes use of the database to learn the knowledge in the database and also try to find out some new information from it. It learns the already existing database and try to find some correlations between the data in the database, something like that. So the machine learning system tries to find out something like that, and then that acquired knowledge will be transferred to, look here, it is transferred to the knowledge base for future use. So in this way, within some time, a knowledge base will be constructed for a system. So always the knowledge base need not be extended. So once the knowledge base is made from enough data, sometimes it may not be extended. Means if the knowledge base is in the form of if then rules. If so and so happens, then so and so happens. If the knowledge is in the form of rules, always the rules needn't be added again and again. But most probably, rules will have to be updated or refined. The meaning of that is that each of the rules or knowledge in this knowledge base will have some certainty factor. The meaning of that is that each of the rules in the knowledge base or rule base will be having some certainty factor. That is, how much factor that rule is certain or true. So that certainty factor of each rule can be updated according to new information. That is, if some other case happens and that rule is proved from some other examples or histories, then that can be used to update the certainty factor of the rule. So this is what is shown here. Actually, the certainty factor of knowledge rules in the knowledge base can be refined or modified from their initial values based on the inference of n number of proven case histories. That is, you have different case histories coming. Like if you have an if-then rule, then something might have happened to make sure that that rule is true. If more cases shows that the rule is true, the certainty factor of that rule will be increased. That is what is meant by refining the certainty factor. It means that you are going to improve the certainty factor or improve the certainty factor of a rule based on some other information that shows that the rule is true. So these different case histories are used to update the certainty factor of the rules in the knowledge base. So for that purpose, some other learning methods are also used. So you don't need to know the details of what is how it is being learned here, but you just need to understand that using different proven cases, you are going to update the certainty factor or truth value of a rule. So this is the basic of how we are going to use machine learning for creating the knowledge base or for knowledge acquisition. I hope now you got a basic idea of what is this. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.